What's going on, kinfolk? Welcome back to Real Talk Thursday.
Hello.
Today, we are going to talk about
starting over, which first, just let me mention, you guys may notice that we're not at Shanna's house. We're at my house. So, hello to a location change. Yes. But we're just here because you guys know Shanna has been working in Santa's workshop.
Yes,
at her place.
All over
and doing her furniture DIYs that I can't wait to see. So today we're at my house. But we're going to talk about starting over. How do you know when it's time? How do you move forward? When is it okay to start over? Let's talk about it.
How often should you start over?
Right? And is there a difference between starting over and running away?
Ooh.
So, let's get into it.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you, when was the last time you started over?
I feel like I've started over so many times that it's not even funny. So for anyone who follows me on Instagram, if you're not following me, you should be. But I just recently started over on a specific journey, which is going back to school. And I'm mentioning this because I want to elaborate on what led me to this decision, because I feel like we have an epidemic of people getting degrees for no reason other than to say that they have them.
For sure.
And I do not agree with that, and I do not fall into that category. But I want to kind of talk about what led me to decide I wanted to do that. So my long story, very short. In college, I got married and had my daughter, and even before that, went through a series of traumatic misfortunes, and it just wasn't a good environment for me to be successful, and I ended up leaving college without graduating. And over the years, I've tried actually twice. I've went to either our local community college or took classes online, and I've thought about finishing, and it just was I never was at a point where I was successful. And it got to the point to where I really was asking myself, okay, why do I want to finish? What purpose do I feel like it will serve? Do I feel like it would fit into my life? Why do I want to finish? Because I think we talk about going to college as the thing to do, and a lot of people do it without a plan. Mm-hmm. So then we have this astronomical student loan debt, right, that our country has, and a lot of people are in debt and have degrees with nothing to show for it. And I knew that I didn't want that. Right. When I originally went to college in 2001, I went into a pretty niche major, which was journalism graphics. So specifically magazine and newspaper design. So if you think back 20 years ago, that was at the beginning of a very big shift.
20 years ago.
I know. 20 years ago. I am older than I appear. But there was a pretty big shift starting around that time that I didn't realize was coming, where things were transitioning from print to digital. So I was in a program that was for print. It was magazine and newspaper layout and design and copy. So I would not only write the article, but I would put in the images and do the layout. So everything that you would see in that finished product would be something that I could do. So it was cool. The journalism and the graphics together. And then, guess what? Who reads newspapers and magazines anymore?
Nobody.
So I would not have foreseen that change was coming, but it came, and it almost rendered my specific skill set obsolete.
You could actually apply that to web design, though, couldn't you?
In some ways, anyway. Yes, but literally we were learning like printing press.
Gotcha.
Like, no joke. We had a class that was even just like the printing, like the process of physically printing.
Can you imagine all the people that had gone through that process and finished in that
I'm
major?
telling you. So there was just design elements, you know, that we learned that could carry over, but there was just a lot of what I learned that wouldn't carry over. And then I had to kind of ask myself, what do I want to do? Like, what direction do I want to continue in? And I hadn't done anything in terms of like my career or my job in that field. I had been in high-end retail for a number of years, and then I ended up getting into healthcare, and it was like, you know what I mean? Right. Like which I feel like that's what happens to a lot of people. Most people, I would say, and sorry, y'all know how I feel about data, but I don't have the numbers to back this up. So this is just me guessing. I would say the majority of people who get degrees do not end up going into the field that their degree is in. Because we're taught college is the thing to do, and if you don't go to college, you're a loser.
Pretty much. Yeah, so, no joke.
A lot of people are just going to college, and then they come out, and they're like, I'm done, and they don't have any plan.
They end up waiting tables. It's like, what did you spend all that money for? Like, nothing.
I'm willing to say that anybody watching right now knows at least one person who has a degree, or even like a master's degree or a PhD, who is underemployed.
Yes.
I mean, I could name several people, but I think we all know at least one. So I said all that to say, I got to a point where I was asking myself, why is it important for me to finish, if it's even important at all? And for a while, I decided not to finish because I was like, at this point, I don't think it's important for me to finish. I don't think that finishing would serve a purpose other than for me to just be like, I have this piece of paper, and I'm not the type of person who cares about that. So I was like, no, until I know for sure that there is some good, solid, concrete reason why I should spend my time and resources in doing this, I'm not going to do it. So I put it on hold for years. And then here recently, I started getting this nagging feeling. I had been just like doing a lot of like work on myself and thinking a lot about things I had been through and things that had happened to me in my life, and just digging really, really, really deep. And I got to a point to where I realized, and where I hadn't before, that I had some shame about not finishing, mainly because I knew that I was capable of finishing, and I had guilt around why didn't I finish, or why didn't I do better at the time when I was there. Because even when I was in college, I wasn't even doing well in terms of my grades. And it was something that just kept bothering me, because it's like, I'm a smart person. Like, I'm not the type of person who struggles in school. And I had to really think back to everything that was going on in my life at the time. Everything that was happening before, like from high school, transitioning into college, and in all the ways that I just was not prepared at the time to have a successful college experience. And I kind of got to the point where I had to just forgive myself and just let that shame go, because there's no way that I should have succeeded for what I was dealing with at the time. Like, it would be a circumstance under which most people wouldn't succeed, because I just didn't have the capacity in my life to even be successful, because there was a lot going on. There was a lot of things that had happened to me, and I was young. And I think about that. If you So I have started a blog again. You have to follow me on Instagram to know these things. And I wrote a blog post where I mentioned that once I made the decision to go back to school, because really it was then at that point, me just resolving that in myself and just knowing that I can do this. I can finish this up. And I decided to even finish at the original university that I started at. And I got everything done and talked to the advisor and got enrolled in the classes and did all that. And once I got logged back into the little student portal, the first thing I saw when I logged in was that they had my original picture from when I first went to college.
Really?
And I was still 17 because I'm one of those people with like a real birthday.
I gotta see this picture.
So I was still 17 when I went. So I log in and I see this picture of baby me.
Wow.
And it like almost brought me to tears because it's like all the things that I had no idea was gonna happen to me. And it was like a full circle moment because it was me as a 37-year-old woman looking at me as a 17-year-old girl,
crazy.
telling myself, oh shoot. No.
Oh, let
sorry.
it go, girl. Let it
No,
go.
I will not let it go. I'm a thug. It was like me looking at me saying, it's okay. Like, you did the best that you could have done at the time. And it's okay. It's okay to move on. You're at a new stage in your life. Like, it's totally fine. So I said all that to say, I decided that I'm going to finish because even once I looked at everything and talked to the advisors and stuff, I was a lot closer to finishing than I realized. Like, literally 5 classes away.
Wow.
And I work in healthcare now, which I had mentioned to you guys. And because it's taken me a while to find like a career that I really like, which I do now, I'm like, okay, now that I'm comfortable in where I am career-wise, I think I want to pursue my master's. So I have to finish my bachelor's. So I'm finishing my bachelor's and I'm going to go right into a master's program in healthcare management because I can see myself having a future with the company that I'm with. And I want to make sure that all of the experience that I have, which is usually what gets you where you need to be, even more so than a degree. But sometimes if you're going into higher levels of management, or if you're thinking about being a director or anything like that, or getting into like executive management, then a lot of times they do require that you have a master's degree or something like that. So I was like, I'm ready, I'm competent, and I'm capable. So I just want to make sure that I am not the only thing stopping me from moving forward in the ways that I want to move forward. So then I was like, okay, it makes sense for me to finish. But it took me a while to figure out if that's what I wanted to do or if that was the path I wanted to go down, because again, I don't agree with having a degree just for the sake of saying, oh, look at me, I have all this degree, if you don't know what you're doing with it or if you don't have a plan. So now I feel like, okay, I have a plan. This makes sense. My kids are older. I'm in a good place in my life that I feel like I have the capacity to do what I need to do and to finish and be successful. So it was like a huge journey of like self-discovery and figuring out what motivates you, because I don't think you should ever be motivated by what other people will think of you. And I wanted to make sure not to fall into that trap, because it's like, oh, guess what? I got my master's and I got my PhD, and guess what? I'm going to post all these posts about how I have all this and have this party and all this stuff so that other people can see and be impressed.
Right.
Not knocking anyone who's done that. I'm not necessarily saying that is a bad thing, because it's a huge accomplishment. But have the right motivation.
Have the right motivation with anything.
With anything,
absolutely,
for sure. So I wanted to make sure the motivation was right. I wanted to make sure that I understood, what does this do for me and my family in terms of how does this set us up to have the quality of life or whatever that I want us to have. And then I feel like I got there. So in that case, my starting over journey took me all that time from 2001 to 2021 to get to a point, and it doesn't take that long for everyone.
It doesn't, but
sometimes it does.
But sometimes
I know
it does.
lots of people older than me who decide that they're going to go back to school, and everyone has their own individual reason.
Yeah, I struggled for a long time with the fact that I didn't go to college, because back, like you were saying, it was like the thing to do. And if you didn't do it, you were looked down on.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, what school did you go to? Ooh, I didn't. And they look at you like you're automatically dumb. Then if you say anything intelligent, they're like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, what? Okay.
Right.
But starting over can look so different for everybody. We haven't really talked about it. I forgot that you were back in school, because you're like you handle it so well, I feel like, and you're just like effortlessly flowed into your schedule.
It did. I was just like, look. And two, I'm going to be totally transparent with you guys. I didn't really focus on making it a big deal that I was going back to finish, because I wasn't sure if I would be successful, because I've tried to finish before and wasn't successful. And I'm one of those people where I'm like, well, let me not tell everybody, because what if I don't do it? Or what if I fail? Or what if I mess up? And I think the reason why I ended up making a blog post about it, I had a conversation with my aunt about what I kind of told you guys in the process of how I got there and having to forgive myself and let go of the shame. And it was like, you know what? Don't be afraid to tell people, because you're not sure if it's going to be okay, because it's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
Like, you're going to be able to do it, and it's going to be fine. And again, like I said, it serves a purpose. I'm not telling people because I want to be like, hey, look at me. I'm telling people because I just want everyone to know your journey is your own, whatever your journey looks like. And even if you decide that college is not for you, even if you're someone who left college and didn't finish and you decide to never finish, do what's right for your life. Because sure. I've told my kids they don't have to go to college.
Praise you for that. I think it's the worst thing you can do for your child. And obviously I don't have children, but as a child, I think that could be the worst thing that you could do for a child, is tell them that they have to.
Yeah.
And then they go through all that and they're miserable, and then they come out and they don't even want to do anything that has anything to do with their degree.
For sure.
And it's like, what? Why did you make them go through all of that for nothing?
Yeah. And before anyone comes for my head, let me explain it a little bit more of why I said that.
You better not.
I encourage, I've explained to my kids that there's so many different ways now, even more so than when I was in school or you were in school. Now there's so many ways to be successful and to do what you need to do.
Yes.
So my biggest thing with my kids is, okay, let's first find out what you're passionate about and what you're good at. Then let's figure out the route that makes the most sense for you to get to where you want to be in terms of success. Because nowadays there's a lot more open doors without a degree.
Yep.
Because I think people are really waking up to the fact that a degree is not what really prepares you for anything. A lot of times it's just doing the work, and it's the internships and the experience and stuff like that. But there's still some places, like I said, like in healthcare, in medicine in general, in law, of course, there's still some places where degrees are important, but I think there's a lot of spaces where degrees are not important, and maybe it's a certification that you get,
right.
Or maybe it's the type of training, or like I said, the number of years of experience. So my focus with my kids is, let's find out first what makes you happy to get up every day.
Absolutely.
And then figure out what you want to do. Because one of my children, Mariah, which is my middle child, she loves art. She's an artist. She likes to paint. She likes to draw. Okay, do you want to be an artist? Like, do you specifically want to be an artist for a living? Do you want to be an art teacher? Do you want to be someone that paints murals? She's going to have to figure out exactly what she wants to do. And we can carve out a path. And that may not include college, because you don't necessarily need a college degree to be an artist.
No, especially now, Instagram, social media,
right?
Like she can start her own business.
She can start her own business. She could be a commissioned artist. She can do whatever she wants to do. And my other daughter, who is a sophomore in high school, so she's close to going to college. She's still trying to figure out what she wants to do. She still thinks that she may want to be a pediatrician or something like that, which obviously means she's going to have to go to many years of college. But she also is thinking about doing something in, should I be an entrepreneur, do something in business, or do real estate, which means obviously she wouldn't necessarily have to go to college. She could get some experience or an internship, and she could get her real estate license, and she can go that way. So I am going to take her on some college tours. I'm going to show her a lot of different things to prepare her for what she wants to do, but we're still going to figure out what is the best way to achieve it. So I feel like college can fit into that equation and college cannot fit into that equation. You have to figure out what is it that we're going to do, but I'm not going to make any of them have a one size fits all. This is what you have to do to be successful, because that's just not true anymore.
That's the truth. I feel like it's looking back. I don't envy the kid. I feel like it's a double-edged sword, like social media, because I think on one hand it's so amazing to see so many young people just thriving. Yeah, you know, starting their own businesses at such a young age and like building empires
for sure
as kids. Like, which it's scary at the same time, because I feel like a lot of them, I mean, no kid is ready for that.
Right.
Let's be honest.
You got to have good people around.
Good solid foundation, which not everybody has, you know, but.
And college can't help you with that either.
Cannot. It cannot. But then, you know, then on the other hand, it's like, it's such a double-edged sword. It can be such a negative thing, too. I can't imagine growing up with social media. But I think one of the most important things is just to understand that, like, just because you're older doesn't mean you have to give up on your dreams. You see so many people. I remember one time I did a vision board, and it was 2017. I did a vision board. It was right after I got divorced. And I said something about being a millionaire or something one day, and someone commented, and they were just like, aren't you a little too old to be worrying about being a millionaire now? Oh, I was like,
it costs a lot of money to retire.
That's the truth. But how sad, like, to me that was so sad. Yeah, it's so sad that you feel like, at that time I was 36 is too old. Yeah, to like,
that's still very young.
It's so young. I feel like you can become a millionaire when you're in your 50s and you still have plenty of time to enjoy it. Like, I just don't. For sure. I don't understand that mentality. So I do want to encourage everybody. Like, I'm really big on this, because I feel like for so many years, I feel like I wasted my 20s just living in fear. And so now I'm at a point in my life, finally at, I don't know, how old was I? 37, when I actually started trying everything. Instead of being afraid and like afraid of failure and all these things, you know, like, let me try everything. Let me try to open a boutique. Why not? If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Let me try to do, you know, a multi-level marketing company, or, you know, network marketing, whatever. So I'm like trying everything just to figure out what it is that my passion. But you never know unless you try.
Yeah, for sure.
So I just think that's so huge. I think that's so awesome that you are encouraging them to follow their dreams, because I feel like too many parents don't do that.
Yeah, and I know, I think we all can think of someone that has a job that they kind of hate, and they do something on the side that they really love. And I hate to see that, because it's like, just do the thing that you really love on the side and just go all out with it, and just see what will happen. It's super scary. And I remember, I know someone who is good at music and pretty much like self-taught, but didn't have, you know, family support or anything like that. And they kind of do music on the side. Music is their passion, but their job is like some boring desk job that they'll never be happy at. And I feel like when you're not happy in life, it affects your whole life.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, where you're not happy at your work.
Because you spend so much. I mean, think about how many hours you spend working. Yeah. That's a lot of hours. Yeah. And if you're miserable, then, I mean, life is just going to suck all the time.
And I can remember jobs that I've had that I didn't like and where I wasn't happy. And it was just, it's so draining. It's like, oh my God, I have to get up and go in here, and you get into the parking lot and you sit in the car and you're like, I don't even want to go in here. Like, that is not the way that I want my children to live. And no matter what you do, even if you have the best job, there's going to be days where you're like, oh my gosh. And there's always going to be hard work. It's not saying like just do the thing that has you like la-di-da.
Right.
Because there's always going to be, if you're working hard at anything, hard work is involved.
Right.
Like,
but even on days, if you were working at home and, you know, living your dream, like, or not working at all, like, you're still going to have bad days.
For sure.
Doing nothing.
So, but it's about what really makes your heart come alive that you're doing. And, you know, of course, then too, in what ways can what you're doing impact and help other people, and what could your legacy be by what it is that you do? And I feel like all of my kids, of course, are destined for greatness. They all have very different paths of what they want to go down to. My youngest, my son, he wants to be a paleontologist, and he is interested in dinosaurs and stuff. And then, like I said, I have one that wants to go into art, and one that's going to go into business or medicine in some regard. So it's like everyone wants to kind of do something different. And it's my job as their parent to make sure they have the tools that they need to get down all of these different little paths. And I also tell them too, oftentimes, what you think you want to do as a kid evolves into something else. If you would have told me as a kid, you should go into healthcare, I would be like, that sounds whack.
Right.
Like, that is not something that most people would say that they like. Because I'm not a nurse or a doctor or anything like that. Like, I know people whose their passion is to help sick people and stuff like that. I'm literally like a behind the scenes person. But I think over the course of my life, all of the things that I've done and all the ways that my personality works is so fitting for the type of job that I do specifically. And even my experience in college with doing magazines and newsletters has translated into what I'm doing now, because my role that I do now, which is I'm an analyst, I'm a provider relations analyst for medical facilities, but I even do a monthly newsletter that goes out that I, have designed and that I do and that I put together. So I just feel like there's all of these ways that God has taken all of these random, I have the most random skill set ever. And one of my best skills is that I have the ability to figure out how to do almost anything if I think about it hard enough.
I think that's awesome.
And so it's just all come together in such a magnificent way in where I'm at. But I wouldn't have thought that. I thought I wanted to be an author
when you were little.
When I was a kid. I wanted to write, and I may still. I've been thinking about doing ebooks.
Yeah.
Or writing ebooks. And I have a blog that you should follow.
Link will be in the description.
So I will never, like Shanna, it's kind of taken me a while to figure out, what? I have to make sure that I'm continually doing the things that make me happy and that make me feel alive and that are impactful and make a difference. And sometimes that's just a process of figuring out what that is and how can you keep fanning those flames. And maybe I'll keep writing, and maybe one day I'll be like, you know what, I'm going to write full time. Who knows? Now I'm just open for where God is going to take me, and I just want to make sure that I'm ready and I'm doing the things that he wants me to do that causes me to be prepared when I get there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
That's my starting over story, and there's 10 more where that came from.
No joke, right? How many times have you started over in life?
But what's some of your best starting over experiences or moments where you've had to just reinvent what you felt life was supposed to look like for you or business was supposed to look like for you?
There's so many. Gosh, where do I begin? I would say I think the first big start over was me moving to Indiana, but I was so young. Mm-hmm. That was life-changing, though. Moving from Chicago, was in an abusive relationship, and really the only reason why I moved to Indiana was to get away from him. Mm-hmm. I just knew that I wouldn't be strong enough to get away from him if it wasn't for whatever. So that was the best thing I could have ever done. It really developed my relationship with the Lord because I didn't have anybody, and I used to be the kind of person I always had to be hanging around people. And I got to a place where, like, I called Bloomington an incubator. There was like nothing to do there, and I didn't have a choice but to be alone. Yeah. So that really pushed me closer to God, and that, you know, that changed everything. JERRILYN earlier brought up YouTube, which I never really thought about that, but it makes complete sense. I mean, I feel like I've done a lot of my start overs with you guys. I've done it publicly, which has been incredibly humiliating. Oh, on one hand,
I didn't think that's what you were gonna say.
Yeah, but also
I thought you were gonna say like incredibly, like awesome, and
no, not always. So, like, JERRILYN, I don't ever really think about it. I forget how much I've been through, honestly, a lot of the time. I've been through a lot in the course of my life. But, you know, starting a YouTube channel, I started in 2015, and I started doing... I didn't know what I wanted to do with it, honestly. I just started because I was like, I don't know, it just felt right. It was like that little tug. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, Lord, if you want me to do this, then... here's what I need to do it. And he was like, okay, here you go. You know? Pretty much. And it just kind of went from there. So then I started doing a little bit of makeup and some random things. And then I think Get Ready With Me, or not Get Ready With Me's, but like morning routine, things like that were really popular because that was back when YouTube was not like the thing to do. Yeah. But then I met my ex-husband, and then I was like, you know what, like it would be fun to start a channel together. Like vlog channels are cute. I love it. And because I actually enjoyed vlogging when I dabbed into it on my other channel. And so then we started our channel together, and it literally blew up. Like, I mean, we grew so fast, and it was just fun. But then the marriage fell apart, and so then I had to, you know, that was so embarrassing because I'm like this. I was 36. Yeah, you know, I waited that long to get married. Then I get married, and then not even 4 months into it, he cheated. Yeah, like really, and now I gotta like. There was no way of making it work. No way. Because he's a sociopath. So I had to start over, essentially. And I lost a lot of subscribers, and I got a lot of hate because I'm a Christian, and I got divorced, and like just all kinds of stuff. Wow. Oh my God, that was the worst. Like, I can't ever get married. You know that, right? You can't ever get married again. Because in the Bible it says, like, no, how about you mind your business?
Which, that's really interesting because the rate for divorce is literally almost the same for Christians as it is for everyone else. It's like whatever, 40, 50%. I don't think it's any, because I remember someone specifically talking about like Christians are not doing any better with successful marriages.
They really are not. That's because there's too many fake ass Christians.
Well, true that.
So I don't care what y'all think about what I am and I'm not supposed to do. Okay, because I'm gonna do what I want to do. Okay, but it was embarrassing. You know, it was really embarrassing because I think at that point, like I wasn't fully comfortable just being myself on camera. Because I hadn't gone through anything yet. Like, I feel like, not that I didn't receive a lot of hate, but I feel like all my hate was coming from the fact that I said that I would never wanted to be with a white man. So, like, it was all about that. Now, they're attacking my character. And that is a lot harder than, you know what I mean? So, then I started going through that, and then, you know, like... It was really, really hard, and that's just one of the many things. I mean, I had a relationship, you know, 2 years after I got divorced. I was in a relationship, and then that ended, and which you know what you're getting into when you introduce some. Which I didn't introduce him. They heard his voice, but they never saw his face. Okay. So they didn't even know, although some of the crazy ones done figured out who he was and like did background checks and stuff. I'm like, y'all are nuts. But Yeah, so I've had to start over quite a bit with the boutique and, you know, business-wise. I've started over because I don't know exactly what I want yet. Like, I'm literally figuring out what I really want out of my life publicly. So the amount of times I've started over, I feel like I don't know, innumerable.
Yeah.
Innumerable
What do you
amounts.
feel like because the one thing I will say, which is good, is that you're not afraid to start over.
I'm not afraid. Not anymore. I was. I was. But I think at this point, it's kind of like, you know what? So what?
Yeah. Because it's scary to start over. But when you really think about it, all of us in some way have had to start over in different capacities throughout our life. It's just a part of life. It's just a part of growing. If you're not starting over, chances are you're probably not growing very much.
Or at all.
So, and then we all just have to evaluate, like Shanna was saying, what's important? Like, what's important to you at 20 it should not be what's important to you still at 30 and at 40.
Absolutely.
I mean, we all change as people. So I think that that's good that you have not been afraid to start over. But what do you think in all of those public ways of starting over? What was like the biggest lesson that you've learned in all of those times?
The biggest lesson is just go for it.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, you don't know unless you try. And I think, like I said, I spent so many years just being afraid. I was so comfortable. I remember so vividly. I was working I think it was like maybe a year, maybe 2 years into the salon that I'm working at now. I've been there for 18 years, 19 years, which is crazy to even say. But I remember I was working, and I'm looking at the owner, Christy. She is the hardest worker I have ever met in my life. Like, at the time, she was coming in at like 6:30 or 7, and then working till like 9:30, sometimes 10 o'clock at night, every day. And I just remember thinking, and, you know, looking at like all my coworkers, like we've all been there for a long time, and just looking at them, and I'm just like, you know, Kathy's older. She just retired. She's in her 70s. And I was thinking, at the time, she was in her 60s. But I'm just like, do I want to still be doing this at 60? Do I really want to be dependent on a client base?
Right.
To make my money? Like, and I have carpal. I think I have carpal. I'm not going to the doctor to get it diagnosed. Don't waste my money. They can't do nothing about it anyway. But I have wrist issues. My back hurts all the time. My ankles hurt now. Like, I have like so many, like, do I really want to do this forever?
For sure. You
know what I mean? And it really just dawned on me in that moment, like, I need to figure out what my passion is. Because even though I do enjoy doing hair, it's not what I want to do forever. It's not, like, I don't want to be in a business that I have to be present in order to make money. Like, I don't want that. That's not what I want. So it wasn't until then, like, I started really just trying to figure it out. And, like, when you're trying to figure it out, like, you're starting from scratch. Okay, well, what am I passionate about? Okay, I'm passionate about fitness. So at that time, I went and I took like it was like a personal trainer certification course at Butler. So I did that, and I love doing that. But, like, do I really? Because that's just a client base too. Personal training is annoying because people don't listen to what you're saying.
But let me just interject. I've always really thought, because it's such a big part of your life organically, like just your fitness and your little things that you do and your juicing and your stuff. I've always wondered why you haven't focused more on it, because it really is a huge part of your life. And that is so popular, like people finding that online, that even if I think your whole thing with your like body dysmorphia really goes into it, because you have like such a hesitancy to show your body, which, not saying that you got to be up in a bikini, but I think you could put just some biker shorts on and a sports bra and do a little bit more because you work so hard.
And I plan on it. I think it is intimidating to me. Like, there's still a lot of insecure. Like, I do really have body dysmorphia kind of bad. But I wish
you would be able to tell me nothing. Do you hear me? Shoot.
Back when Instagram first started in 2011, can you believe it?
Is that how long?
2011. I remember because I remember what place I lived in. That was my favorite apartment.
Okay.
And I remember posting my first post. And I wish it would have dawned on me to even do that. You know what I mean? Like, I never even thought about doing that. Like, sometimes I wonder, like, Lord, why didn't you plant that seed in me then? But, you know, everything happens for a reason. You can't dwell on the what ifs. But, like, it never even dawned on me to even use my social media or to look at social media, like, and share that. I don't know why. I did share my meals and stuff, but I didn't post regularly. I never, like, took it seriously or anything like that. But essentially, I was just starting over. Fitness is a huge thing, and it's something that I plan on doing more of. Like, I've been doing the workout videos, but they don't do as well. So that's why I don't post as many. But I kind of low-key am going to start, like, just doing it anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think whether they do as well or not is not as important as you just doing the stuff that is just so natural and organic to you. Because I think then it probably will do better because it's like, this is a real part of your life. The thing that I think most people hate the most about social media now that it's so big is there's so many things out there that are not authentic.
Real talk.
There's so many, because people know now what sells and what moves and what gets the views and stuff, that people just do what they need to do.
Or they do everything that everybody else is doing. Like these trends. Like JERRILYN was watching Instagram or something, and they were doing that. They were doing one of the trend songs, like the dance or whatever.
The little dances.
And the first time I saw, I think that is the cutest dance. The first time I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh,
y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like I really want to do that dance. I was thinking about doing it with Jean-Claude, which it would have been so cute. But now everybody's doing it. When everybody jumps on board, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, I'm just not the kind of person to just jump on any bandwagon. I don't care what it is. Just because everybody else is, it actually turns me off. It makes me not want to do it anymore. So that actually works against me in a lot of ways, because if I were to think about my social media strategically, in order to grow more faster, then I would jump on the bandwagon because that's what's trending. But I'm just not that person. I'm just not the trendy person. Like, I'm not going to do it just because you're doing it. And that I sometimes I wish I could be a little more like that, but I'm not like that, and I think that'll probably work in my favor, you know, as time goes on. But I do plan on doing more fitness because it is a passion. Like, that's something that I've always, ever since I can remember. Like, I started really getting into fitness. I remember before I moved to Indiana, I was 18, and I was working out with my friend Diana. Shout out to you, Diana Salgado, if you're watching. But her and I were so tight. And we joined this gym. It was Women's Workout World.
Okay.
So her and I used to go to the gym together all the time.
Old school.
Doesn't it though? Listen, leotards and every fun. But and that was also back in the day when people actually used to wear clothes to the gym. Oh, but those days have long gone. Yeah. But I actually applied.
Now you got to be fit already to go to the gym.
Seriously.
Which is why I don't go.
I went and I applied for a job as a fitness instructor.
Oh, really?
And part of the process was to take a class, take an aerobics class, and I did it. And they offered me the job, and I was too afraid to take it. Can you believe that? Yeah. Looking back, I'm like, are you serious? I was too afraid to take the job that was offered to me. Do you realize
that you went in there to get?
I went in there to get it, but I get social anxiety pretty bad a lot of the time, but like, I could have faked it until I made it. You know what I mean? And I loved fitness that much that I even wanted to do it in the first place. That was the seed that God planted, and I was too afraid to take it. And I think back, and obviously everything happens for a reason, but like what course my life would have taken if I would have said yes. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have been afraid to come to Bloomington. I mean, because coming from a big city and going to a small town, you feel invincible. Like I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit that big city asshole mentality, to be honest, because I'm like, Bloomington, Indiana, like I'm from Chicago, you know what I mean? But I literally, like, that attitude can serve you too if you, I mean, you don't want to act like a jerk, but
if you
I could have walked in anywhere and felt like I could have taken over. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I regret that, but
I think the most important
going
thing,
on tangents here,
just, and this is now a tangent, but this is just a reminder to Shanna of something that she already knows. It's just whatever you love, and then just the consistency.
And that's my problem.
Do you guys know there's a lady, I have no idea what her handle is or anything like that, but I think she's so cute. She's like a little bit of an older lady, and she does like hair tutorials. She's a black lady, and she doesn't even necessarily, it's not like they're high quality, and it's not like she's really doing anything spectacular. Or, man, if I can remember the lady's name, I have to have Shanna add it somehow. But I've noticed that she has gained a lot in popularity because she does consistently these videos of her being in the bathroom, you know, in front of the mirror, and people will ask her, can you do this or can you do that? And she'll put like the little thing where someone says, well, can you do a roller set? And then she'll do a little roller set. And it's like someone, I'm like, oh my God, my mom could follow this lady and do what she does, because it's almost like she's talking to older women such as herself. And it's so approachable because it's not all contrived, but she like she got helly videos. Like she's really like always making them. And I don't think she totally ignores what people say, because, you know, I've seen people give her mean comments. She doesn't have like the best hair or anything like that. And people sometimes say like, you know, probably tell her, girl, you ain't doing nothing. But she's doing her. She's doing what is authentic to her, serving the audience that gravitates towards that, and she's consistent, and it looks like she's having success from just doing that.
And I admire that, because that's something that they talk about a lot. It's so interesting because I've been like, and I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for this, but whatever. The law of attraction.
You've talked about
once I got into the law, and it's not even like the law of attraction in the new age sense. The reason why I'm so attracted to the law of attraction is because I feel like that mentality is the way God wants us to live. It's not about like the woo-woo law of attraction, like the universe is gonna no like it's about changing your thinking, changing your thought life, you know, filling your mind and your spirit with positivity, believing in yourself, and positive affirmations, and knowing that you can do it, like all that stuff. That changed my life. But one of the biggest things that they talk about a lot of the time is the perfectionism. Like, I'm a perfectionist, major. And perfectionism or procrastination is a form of perfectionism, because if you film something, and I am so guilty of this, if you film something and it's not perfect, the quality doesn't look good, it doesn't look as, like, your hair didn't look as good as it should have, or your makeup wasn't good, or your
it
background
keeps you from
wasn't
even
right,
starting
you
or
won't
from going
post
forward.
it.
For sure, I struggle with that.
Yeah, and it's that is like literally my whole life. Like, I don't feel like anything is perfect. That's why whenever I do something, whenever I commit something, like JERRILYN always laughs, because
it's always such high
balls to the
quality.
Like, I'm not just gonna have my phone as my camera. I'm gonna get the camera. I'm gonna get the ring. I'm gonna get the light boxes.
Shanna has gadgets and gazmos aplenty.
Real.
What are they saying in Little Mermaid? I've got who's it and what's it galore. That is Shanna. Light boxes? I've got 20.
No.
Like, that is what she literally did. That thing is super cute. But it's like,
but it can hold you. So it held me back in so many ways. I think about how much farther along than I could have been, but at the same time, I feel like that's why I talk so much about just going for it, because I didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, stop waiting for the perfect time.
For sure.
Stop waiting for because there is no perfect time. It's never going to be perfect. You're
Never.
going to grow and you're going to learn, and your content could be really crappy at first, but you know what? You put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm working on, even with the fitness thing. I think a lot of things right now, which is so stupid, I know, to a lot of people, because like, oh, you look good. But like, I wish I would have started doing that earlier, because like when Instagram first opened, I was a freaking beast. Mm-hmm. I was working out with this workout crew, but it wasn't like the thing to do to film your workouts at that point.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like the thing. So I never realized, and it never even dawned on me to do that. But now I'm at a point where there are no excuses. Yeah. So it's like everything is literally at your fingertips.
Basically.
And it's like either you're going to do it or you're just going to keep dreaming.
Fitness is still a really big thing, but two, especially for women, it's like seeing realistic bodies and people who are working out, but their bodies aren't perfect, which you already know. I think you look great, but it's like there's a lot of people who are on a fitness journey, and especially like after you are a mom and maybe you've lost weight but you still have loose skin or whatever, like people actually want to see that, because that is what is realistic to most of us. Because when we feel like it's not attainable, it's like, well, I ain't about to follow. At least that's what I do. I'm not about to follow you, because you clearly
You're
are made of different stock than me.
And that's hard for me, because like in my head, I'm freaking swole. Mm-hmm. But then I look in the mirror and I'm like, it's like, it's almost like humiliating for me. Like I look at other women who are thicker that do fitness. I'm like, you look good, girl.
But you look good.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't look at myself and think the same thing, because I feel like I have to be perfect, and I have to. I still am working on overcoming that. But yeah, you know,
I'll just keep forcing you.
Please do. I welcome that, actually, and appreciate it.
Because I really would love to see you share that, just because I know that it really is genuinely a part of your life, and it's something that you are good at and you're passionate about, and there's no reason why you shouldn't incorporate that.
Thank you.
But yeah, so basically our stories have all come together just to let you guys know that starting over is okay. It's overcoming the fear, and it's charting your own path. Absolutely. I think with your story about your social media and starting over in that process, another thing too that I'm going to that you learned, if I can speak on your behalf, is how to cancel out the noise of what other people are saying.
Which was hard.
I'm sure you developed like a thick skin over time of just being like, you know what? I got to figure out what's right for me. What's best for my life. And people are always going to have, no matter what you do, and we all know this, but it bears repeating, you could do what you feel like is the best, most perfect thing and do everything exactly in the right way, and somebody is going to have something to say.
Always and forever. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't.
So you
might as well do.
You might as well do.
That's what I always say.
We got a lot of positive feedback from our Real Talk Thursdays that we filmed with the guys, with my friend Michael and Shauna's friend Marcus. And even still, there was that one lonely comment on that first video where someone was like, well, I ain't gonna say nothing about you drinking. That's between you and the Lord. Are you serious?
I'm not going to say nothing about your judging. That's just between you and the Lord.
Listen, here's what I have to say about that. And this is what I think that sometimes, this is a tangent. Sometimes people don't understand. When that's your approach, you turn other people away
from the Lord,
from Christianity. Because my friend Michael, who is an awesome, wonderful person, but you guys may or may not realize that he's not really like necessarily a Christian in the way that we would understand it. He had made a comment to me about that comment.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Like, he was kind of like taken aback by the fact. And I just feel like you be mindful when you say stuff like that, because more often than not, it actually turns people away. Because let's say if he was scrolling on YouTube one day and he was thinking, you know what, I really want to commit my life to the Lord or whatever, I don't know. and then he saw that after how positive that whole conversation was, after how much we really were trying to help people, and that's the thing that somebody gravitated towards. You could think of.
Right.
He might be like, you know what? I'm cool just being a cool person and not having to bear on the judgment of being a Christian, and because I like to have a glass of wine.
Christians do that so much. So like, it's my responsibility. No, it's not your responsibility to point it out. It's none of your damn business, is what it is. Like, it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy.
And I think everybody knows what it's like to do things in a responsible manner. So it's like, it's not like we're getting drunk.
Right.
But you guys may notice, if you've never noticed, go back and look at our Real Talk Thursday videos and you will notice Shanna is usually not the one who comments to people's comments. It's usually me. Because I think most people, and I know Gabrielle has said this too, because people can get so nasty in the comments, the people who put the content out usually don't even read them and don't even look at them. So if you have something nasty that you want to say, just save your breath, because Shanna is not going to see it, and I'm not going to care because it ain't my channel.
Right, like that's literally the first thing. I never read the comments anymore because all of y'all haters, like I can't with y'all.
But there's so many more.
There's
like,
so many more positive ones.
Oh, definitely overweighs the negative.
No question. But see, most of you guys that are my true supporters on YouTube are on Instagram, and I feel like I have such. Like, I read all the comments on Instagram. I probably shouldn't say that. And I connect with you guys a lot on Instagram. I have a lot of, like, one-on-one conversations in the DMs with a lot of you ladies on Instagram. And I feel like I'm developing, like, relationships with you guys. So that is a more positive space. But, like, I literally don't have the time, the emotional capacity to read the comments on YouTube. I'm not even gonna lie.
I like to read them because it is a good reminder to me of why I like to jump in with Shanna, but why I don't want to have my own channel.
I feel you. It's tough.
I like to get in, comment to you guys, and when someone says something kind of challenging, sometimes I even like to think like, okay, that's a perspective that I can consider. Like, it is fascinating to me to see what other people think. But again, like I said, it's not my channel, so it doesn't necessarily affect me to that level. So I feel like I could just dip in and dip out, and like the auntie that doesn't have to have the kids but can take care of the kids and then give it back.
Right.
I'm the auntie of Shanna's channel. So funny. So I don't have to worry about it. But anyway, so that's just a side note. Just try not to do that if you feel yourself getting ready to do that, because I don't think your intention is to turn people away from a Christian life or from being a Christian, but that's sometimes what happens when you're not careful with how you with what your approach is to people. So that's just a little side note for you for free. I'll let you have that one for free. Yeah, we would love to hear what you guys starting over stories are. If you have a good story about something that you had to overcome, or some time where you had to reroute and change courses in your life, because we know it happens to everyone. So we would love to hear that in the comments or in our DMs on Instagram. We really, again, like, talk back to people. And all
right, so the camera cut off. My bad. So you have to redo this ending. So the camera, like, the angle is a little different and stuff or whatever. How do you do that? How do you do that dance?
I don't know, because every time I do it, my kids make fun of me because I do it like this. I'll show you guys just for your enjoyment. I do it like this, and they say that is wrong.
I don't know how to do it.
But what we were saying was, please leave your starting over stories in the comments of this video or in our DMs, because hopefully we'll be able to go live on IG again. Yes. We've done it before and it was fun, and maybe we can bring someone or some of you guys in on the video to talk about your starting over stories and things that we've learned. I think most of your viewers and us are around this age, you know, right. So 30s, 40s, 50s. So we all have lots of lessons that we can impart with each other and with hopefully younger people too. So make sure you're sharing your stories with us. And I can't remember if this got cut off or not, but if you're not subscribed or if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you're following me, because I want to get to 1,000 followers. Because I'm not even at 1,000 followers yet. But I like to have people follow me that actually want to follow me, if that makes sense. So I try to do it organically, but once I get to 1K, I'm gonna do a trending dance,
and we want to see
I'll make a reel of some sort of dance with my kids, so you guys can laugh at me.
Yeah, we want to see that. So go follow her. The links are always in the description.
I'm eating cotton candy grapes. Speaking of trends.
But thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe. And we'll see you on the next Real Talk Thursday.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.